Welcome to our final philosophy project on internet censorship. And as our first interviewer, we are featuring a student supervisor at Johns Hopkins University, Mr. McCready. Okay, Mr. McCready. So, 2 years ago, the 112th Congress of the United States nearly passed the Stop Online Piracy Act and Protect Internet Protocol Act. Both of these bills are aiming to fight against copyright infringement, primarily with foreign-based websites such as the Pirate Bay and Mega Upload. Sure. So, do you believe these bills represented a tangible threat to the democracy of the U.S., its Constitution, or its national value of freedom?
No, because I believe in property rights. And I believe if somebody creates something that it should be paid for rather than just be taken advantage of. I mean, if Ernest Hemingway had published his novels and then somebody made Xerox copies of millions of them and passed them out for his own profit and gave none to Ernest Hemingway, this would have been a travesty.
So there are many countries in the world with strict internet censorship, including Vietnam, Syria, China, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and North Korea. They monitor all activities of the people using the internet, block all sites of human rights activists for religious reasons, and place heavy penalties on blogging anything against the government. Do you think it is crucial to alter these tactics?
Well, we want internet freedom to evolve just as we want those societies to evolve to be more free and open. So, but it's not going to happen overnight. We can't force it. We can set a good example, though.
So would you feel threatened if the U.S. government chose to enact some of these tactics, such as blocking certain websites?
That would be a violation of the First Amendment unless the websites were, being monitored. I mean, if somebody has a how to make bomb website, I think they're going to want to know who's visiting that for obvious reasons. I mean, that's just the same thing if I'm doing suspicious activity in my house.
I think online censorship will be very significant to my life because I'm planning on majoring in computer science and working with a lot of software and online applications. So I'll be very close in touch with social media and the internet. I think censorship in certain school and workplace areas of social media sites is justifiable so people don't get distracted too much. In terms of illegally downloading music, I think no person who does it should be at fault because it's so easily available. But certain websites should definitely be more regulated so that the artists don't lose too much revenue. One of my core values is honesty. I want to be very honest to the government about what I do, and I would want the government to be very honest about what they do to me and the people. So by censoring certain sites and filtering online activity or even monitoring what people do is a form of dishonesty for me. So that's why I think online freedom is essential.
Mario Marangiani is an adjunct professor of law and associate director of the Marshall Brennan Constitutional Literacy Project.
So my first question for you, Ms. Marangiani, is:
do you believe internet censorship laws represent a tangible threat to democracy and the U.S. Constitution?
Well, we don't have a lot of censorship laws, so I don't think there really is a big threat to democracy, to be honest with you. I can think of a few specific examples where there is censorship. For pretty good reasons, I think. But for the most part, I think we have a pretty free and open general access to the internet.
Do you believe that the protection of intellectual property is more important than the protection of freedom of speech?
That's a really good question, Noah, and I think that there's a balancing act that does and has to occur between the individual's right to free speech and also the individual's right to protect their own thoughts, which is part of speech, really. So sort of the freedom of the individual to speak versus their thoughts being stolen. I do think that one wonderful thing about our country and our development has been the very early and pretty thorough system of intellectual property protection that we developed relative to other countries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's a really important thing. But I also think that to the extent that sometimes individuals thinking of things that are very similar to what someone else thought and then getting in trouble for that can become problematic. That could be a problem. But
Ah, okay. And also, my next question is, do you think that freedom of speech should be applied to the internet as well as, like in print sources and other media?
yes, I do. The intellectual property protection is probably a little bit more important.
Now, after taking Mr. Williams' AP World class junior year, I learned that my core value is compassion. What Mr. Williams' class has taught me is that, I want to be able to broker a resolution between, both sides of the conflict. So as a person, who's very interested in pursuing public policy as a career, my goal is to create international policy that, creates a peaceful solution to this conflict that, keeps in mind that businesses in the entertainment industry deserve protection of their property, but also that internet users deserve an atmosphere where the federal government doesn't intervene.
Today I am interviewing David Managazzi, who has a PhD in biology and an expert in bioinformatics. Okay, so are you ready? What are your views on censorship in the workplace?
Well, I think the workplace, the employer, pays you that salary to actually work for them those 8 hours a day, and you actually agree on that by signing the contract.
Do you believe that protecting intellectual property is a strong reason for governments to restrict online freedom?
First of all, I think the intellectual property should be protected. This is one side. But on the other hand, it is sometimes very, very hard to define what is my intellectual property. And that's where the problem starts.
Yeah.
And the third and maybe the most important thing is how does the government protect that property? How will they act when they find the perpetrator? How will they search for the perpetrators, first of all? Will they scan everything, all the traffic, internet traffic? If they are searching for you, will they scan my traffic too? If they find you, how will they punish you or me? Will they punish just one user or the whole site? Let's say if someone posts something wrong on Wikipedia, will they shut down the whole Wikipedia and things like that? So it is a little bit hard, difficult problem. I think there should be some control, obviously, but also the government should be restricted in their actions. We should know exactly what they are doing and how they are doing it.
Yes. Thank you, David, for the interview. I really appreciate you taking the time. Looking at the future, it is hard to predict if internet censorship will increase dramatically or if it will decrease to a minimum. It is scary to think that in the future, as technology progresses and governments become more powerful, that governments will start closely monitoring and censoring the internet intensively. If this were to happen, I would apply my effort to fight against these new government policies. My core value of perseverance would drive me to not accept these new policies and potential social norms and push me to fight for my beliefs. I would contact organizations such as Amnesty International, and I would contact my congressman to fight against these new policies, to make sure governments do not limit freedom of speech.
I hope you enjoyed our video.
Thank you, Miss Hall.
Yeah, we love you, Miss Hall.